The next topic is quite weighty. Tell me please, what investment directions do you know? Let's discuss. Training, good. Who else knows any investment directions? Banking sector. Do you know any investment areas? The property. The most popular investment area is real estate. Business. Securities, i.e. stock market. Cryptocurrency, CryptoUnit, which recently appeared. What else? Gold. Antiques. What else? Shares of companies, corporatization, i.e. stock market. Who else knows any directions? Insurance. That's right, the stock insurance market. Who else knows? Wine. Is that buying wine? Well, yes. Producing wine, it is aging, and it turns out brandy. It's not bad too. I had a friend who received 4 hectares of land for free. Then I had the opportunity and planted oak and sweet cherry. I asked, why? He says, sweet cherries in 15 years will be super expensive. Well, I will also get berries in 5 years. And the oak tree in 50 years is the future of my children. It turns out that a good oak trunk 40 centimeters with the right cultivation is worth crazy money. Wood is used in furniture production. Good. Let's then write down what are the main areas of investment. Remember, we said that investment is the attachment of money somewhere. Now consider where you can make investments. The first, in the training sector. This is the most profitable, the best sector. I remember going to Cyprus for learning. I then sent there $500. Then I invited more guys who did not want to be in business with me, but transferred some money there. In general, I received a commission. There were commissions for the invitation. And after a certain period of time, my income, my asset increased, because I attracted to the company and partners and investments. But the most valuable thing is that I gained knowledge. And, thanks to this knowledge, I could earn more. Therefore, knowledge as a learning sector is very valuable. A young guy from whom I studied internet marketing in 2010 simply conquered me, and I was struck by the fact that at the age of 24 he invested $15,000 to go to study in America with Tony Robbins. When I was 24 years old, when I earned $100,000, I went to Yalta, walked, showed up, bought myself a new car. Do you understand? Yes? I asked, Alex, tell me why. 24 years, $15,000. Why wouldn't you have taken the girl to have rest somewhere, on a cruise or somewhere else? $15,000 in training. He answered me, I realized that if I don't invest money somewhere, I'll stay with $1,000, $1,500 or even less. After this training for 6 months, he went to the income of $5,000, $7,000. Then, when we started working together with him, he taught me and I coached him in finance and investment. And he went to $20,000, $30,000 and less now does not fall. Well done, guy. Once in the 90s, I was engaged in gasoline. My friend brought me gasoline in large tanks. I loaded gasoline into my tank trucks. He brought these tank trucks to the city and sold gasoline directly from the tank truck. He then called me and said, are you not tired of all this? I'm terribly tired. Let's go to Austria. We will learn financial literacy and investments there. I said yes to him, and I myself thought, to pay 3,000 marks, what for? I have everything in chocolate. A year later, I will build my own gas station. A year later, I did not build anything. I lost money and started to deal with food. It was somewhere in 1996 when I arrived in Donetsk in one office of a 4-story building. And he was the owner of this building. He has a Mercedes like Sasha Belly. And he was messing about with food. And he says, "Andryuha, why didn't you go? See how my life has changed. Let's go to Cyprus. Now is the era of the new Russians. They are all there, like a crazed property in Cyprus are buying. Let's go to study." And I had a limited amount of money. And again I thought, why should I study? In 1998, I realized that I was losing money only because I do not have the knowledge of how to save and increase money. Therefore, training is the best investment, dear friends. There is such a video, I will not turn it on now, when a billionaire is asked a question, "I have $10,000, where to invest money?" Who saw this video? You remember, don't you? He says, in the brains. Because if you don't put this money in your brain, you will inevitably lose it. Good answer. Secondly, the banking sector is a traditional sector and it is a guaranteed investment sector. The third is insurance funds. This is one of the areas of long-term investment. You know, today a huge number of people work with us from the insurance business. Here is Antonina Kianovskaya from the insurance business. The first to support Skyway were insurers and MMA payers. MMM payers came to the idea very well. I was a little jarred that the pyramidals came first to raise this project. It was even uncomfortable, because they have a pyramid image. Only MMM deceived people, and now they came to support Skyway. And later usual people came, supported Skyway. MMM people have left. They went there to raise other projects. I call them startups. They like to launch a startup for half a year, get something and go to the next one. They all have a startup philosophy. Creamers. They always collect cream. Startups, creamers. So insurance funds are a very good potential for us partners. Fourth are pension funds. There is in any investment company today there are pension funds. We also plan to create not a pension fund, but alternative pension savings. We want to give people with little money the opportunity at least to study and invest somewhere. Because at the period when I created the Academy as an independent structure, I was often asked the question, "Andrey, where to invest money?" I said, "Let me tell you where I put the money, and you, if you want, invest with me." Then many people told me, "Andrey, you have such knowledge, such an academy, you understand this, make some good foundation, you are very trusted because you are experts, professionals are great." And then Skyway appeared. Thanks to Skyway, we have quite a good profit. Igor Romanenko and I will show it to you today. But I'll say right now what we, as a fund of Skyway investment groups, are like. I want to draw it for you to understand. We are the prototype of the brokers. There are stock markets. We have a sector. Do you see? These are the stock markets of Russia, USA, Europe, Asia. What is the stock market? This is the exchange on which they bargain. It is called stock exchange. Traded drains. The stock is so-called drains. When a company opens, it is called share. In English culture and law, this is called share. Shareholders are all of us. As soon as the company became public, it made an IPO and entered the stock exchange. It is called stock exchange. The stock is traded on the stock exchange. There are stock exchanges and there are brokers here. Anyone cannot enter the stock market. He can enter only through a broker. Either a person needs to become a broker, get a brokerage license, and he can also trade. But for this you need to become a professional. So if you take Skyway, it is the prototype of this exchange. And we here, SWIG, are a broker's prototype. We give people the opportunity to buy what they need directly. There is, we have fulfilled our obligations in double size. We gave education and we gave the opportunity to be co-owners. We fulfilled our obligations in the same way as a broker. He takes money from a client, here is a client who paid the money, his task is to buy some tool. Shares of Apple, for example. Did the broker fulfill his obligations? Yes, he did. He has a commission. Brokers earn on commission. So, as we earn a commission. In the case of a broker, only he and his sibling agents earn money who bring people in and get some kind of commission. And we have a multi-level system. The only difference is that we use a multi-level system. And it turns out that we, as a prototype broker, give people the opportunity to come here directly. But what is our greatest value? The broker has a profit and he spends it on himself. And we have a profit. I'll draw on a new sheet. Of the $26,000 invested from May to October 2014 for the opening of the Skyway Invest Group fund, today costs more than $10 million.
Для открытия фонда Skyway Invest Group сегодня стоит более 10 миллионов долларов.
And we have a portfolio. Every investor, raise your hands, who is an investor through SWIG, participates in this portfolio.
Вы участвуете в этом портфеле.
There is, it is not only my profit, as Khovratov Andrey, who organized, directors who work. This is the profit of all investors. Every investor is already participating in this portfolio. Today we will briefly show what this portfolio consists of. If you count the capitalization, by the way, the task for you will be to calculate the capitalization. Now we will have a break, calculate the capitalization we have made. As a percentage, for all time for 4.5 years, per year, per month and per day. Count it. More, and much more. Take the calculator and count. This is what we did. This is the beginning of the retirement portfolio that we are creating. My goal is to create a portfolio of $100 trillion for retirees. What I'm leading to, if a broker spends the money on himself. This is due to the fact that I'm in the network, and as I said that my earnings as the CEO of the Skyway Investment Group are much less than my check as the president of the structure. I live with a check. And to be honest, the managerial work of the general director sometimes tires me out. On a network, I enjoy. I love this job. From morning till evening there are meetings, motivations, presentations, training. But as a CEO, well, it just tires me sometimes to solve such issues. But you have to decide, nothing can be done. There is no one who could manage yet. So here's what I'm summing up for. We, having a profit, created such conditions especially for our investors. Do you know why? For one simple reason, because I'm an experienced networker. I understand that it's necessary to interest people in some way, so that they work with us and work with us for a long time. This is the part of the pension program that will be given to people. Today after lunch you will see what this portfolio consists of. It consists of 14 segments. We look further. Share. What is equity? Equity participation is divided into two types. This is a share in an already developed business. There is to be a shareholder. Equity participation in the beginning of an entrepreneurial business. When a business is created and you can be a shareholder of this business, you can invest in order to participate in a certain percentage of a certain percentage. Construction of residential and non-residential real estate. Who has ever been the real estate investors? Are there such people? When you are a real estate investor, this is also an investment, for example, in real estate. There is this share. In general, corporatization is also a form of equity expressed in shares, not in percentage but in shares. And the venture capital market is also a form of equity participation. In the venture capital market, there are such concepts as a venture capital market startup, but there is a concept set or zero. For example, as Anatoly Eduardovich Yunitsky, who has an idea, has a clear business plan how to come to this. He proposed his name, his business plan 4 years ago, and we bought his name, his idea, his business plan and started working when there was nothing. It was set, level 0 in the venture capital market. And today we're coming to an end, because in the nearest future we will have the transition to the 13th stage. This is a very profitable direction. It is risky under warranty. Training is the most guaranteed investment object. 100% that you will get something from training. But in our case, in the Skyway Invest Group, you still have guarantees that you have company shares, and this is the portfolio that we are creating. There is you want, you do not want, and we create it. You are its participants, someone for $10, someone for $100, someone for $100,000. And it will be divided in proportions to the investment. It is also divided into 5 categories. 1. Investors. 2. Partners, who are not just investors, but are still moving the project, and you can promote and make money on it without investments. The third category is the leaders who move and actively develop the company. Fourth is the multi-level crowd investing department. Fifth is the management team. If the person is only an investor, he will have one small share in this portfolio. If he is also a partner, then more. If he is a leader, even more. If he entered the multi-level crowd investing department in future, even more. Or in the directorship. And if he is in the management team, then he will have the largest share in this. This means that he has invested the most and showed the greatest result. Stock markets of Russia, USA, Europe and Asia. Igor Romanenko will show an example of a portfolio, so that you understand what portfolio thinking is. Forex market. Have you heard about the Forex market? The currency market Forex, which is called Trade Forex, is practically a Forex kitchen. Today cryptocurrencies are scolded. I remember how 10 years ago, in 2003-2005, I just started learning Forex. I reached the moments of crisis in 2008-2009 and began to study actively. Everyone said that this is a pyramid, this is nonsense, this will not work. And today, take any bank when you will be offered. You can trade with us on Forex. Any bank of Russia, any bank of Europe calls and says, and we have 2 terminals where you can trade. QUIK terminal is the terminal of the stock market and MT5 is the terminal of the currency market. There is, banks offer you to go out and trade on your own. Do you understand? Offer gold to buy the shares of any companies. They conduct training in this direction. Therefore, the Forex market is also a good enough direction to diversify risks. And in general, in any portfolio should be up to 15% of the cash. What is cash? This is a fast-moving money which can be quickly withdrawn. Well, some kind of cash should be. Not just cash in the accounts, but also cash. This year, by the way, in the spring, a huge number of investment companies and funds went into cash, because they expected a big crisis this year. But it somehow lingered and was delayed. The real estate market is also one of the directions. In the real estate market you need to understand such a factor, very interesting, that many invest in real estate. I admit that when I lived in Thailand, I was just lucky. Those who are now leaving to live in Thailand or Bali, they were some kinds of officials, or at a factory earned money in some way, bought property there. I know few people who bought good property there and rented out. I talked with the owner of 3 villas, which he acquired for $500,000. I asked him what income he had from these villas. He replied that sometimes 60,000 a year came out. In a year. Divide 60,000 by 1.5 million 100 times. How much is it? 4% per year. This is less than in the bank. But there is a property.
4% чистыми.
It suited me when I rented a house from him, since I did not pay for repairs. If something is broken, then a man comes in and fixes it. And I only gave him for housing, for air conditioning, for electricity. What I'm leading to, they do not have understanding investment while acquire these objects. I rented a villa for 120,000 baht, this is $4,000. It was a luxury house with a pool, 800 meters from the sea, just awesome. It is necessary to invest in real estate in such a way that to obtain high profits and liquidity would be good enough. There is a building property. I love building real estate to do. I'm building a mini hotel now. Plus, like the foundation, we have 3 hectares of land not far from here. We will have there a super hotel of 8 stars. There is no such thing in the Crimea. This will be a separate program. It is not applied to the investor. You are already participating in it, but we will take money from other sources. Why do we consider all these moments and directions? We have different directions. One of the directions is road haulage. This is also through the part of the fund. But I take different directions, so that if people don't come to Skyway right now, then we will cling to others. In this way we will create bases on real estate, on road haulage, on CryptoUnit, and so on. And then these bases should be brought to us in Skyway, because Skyway needs to be built a lot, and therefore we need different bases of people whom we will gradually transmit. I like the real estate market. I know how to get from the real estate market the maximum. We have courses on real estate. Those who have acquired a master Profi, I'm sure that you have courses on real estate. This is done by one of our partners. He lives in Zaporozhye. His name is Alexander Bredun. He made a wonderful course. You can study it, it is in your personal account. Internet market and internet technologies. It is a very good market. An example would be Google's capitalization. It was just an internet company. Further, Facebook. A simple example is VK. I do not know how much Durov invested, but today the VK is worth at least $50 million. Do you understand? Therefore, we are also developing this direction. And we have investments related to this. Precious metals market. When I learned how much gold is worth, I always dreamed of not just buying an ingot of gold and not just buying impersonal metal bills in Russia. I dreamed of investing in gold mining stocks. On the territory of Russia, it is almost impossible, very difficult. In Thailand, I met a guy, he started investing with me. We talked to him. And now in Africa there is a fund when we are shareholders. Moreover, on favorable terms, we bought shares in the company. Everything develops there. My relative works in the same country for gold as a simple engineer. If in Russia per ton of breed we receive 2 grams, then this is a super result.
По золоту вот на тонну золота, ну как рассчитывается на тонну.
And in Africa there are 6-8 grams per ton.
Вот в России.
We have 2, and there they have 6-8, 3 times more. And when I found out what the cost of gold was, I was simply amazed. With all costs, taxes, assistance to local authorities, the village needs to be done, school, road. The amount is about $400 an ounce of gold. I could not believe for a long time. He showed me all the calculations and I was shocked. I thought that I once wanted to be a shareholder in a gold mining company. Here you are. The market for precious stones. This is also one of the interesting directions. Again, you have material called 12 courses of basic private investor training. The one who bought the Master Profi, you have it in your personal account. Learn it. I talk there about precious stones. What is it all about? Why investing in precious metals and stones is a very good hereditary investment that can be inherited. Once I did the calculations with regards to gold. I figured that if 40 years ago, for example, a pensioner, no matter Russian or American, would learn to save 10%, of this 10% would save 10% and buy gold, chains, bracelets, but only without stones, because if you bring a gold product with stones to a pawn shop, it will be inexpensively evaluated. Over 40 years, this person could accumulate 25 kilograms of gold. I took an average salary of 1,500 Soviet rubles. It translated into dollars. At that time, the dollar was 76 kopeek. Then gold cost $4 or $5 per gram. I figured that if he set aside 10%, of them set aside 10% and bought gold, he would have accumulated 25 kilograms of gold. Today, sales at a Lombard price, that is $30 per gram, would have been $750,000. And if a pensioner has a difficult life situation, then he could take, for example, 10 grams of gold, pawn shop some amount and buy food. And so gurus like Robert Kiyosaki and Donald Trump, the American president, he is also an investor, are investing in gold. Gold is a measure of inflation. There is, whatever happens, we have all the bindings going to gold. Therefore, gold is one of the areas that I consider hereditary investment, investing in which you can inherit precious metals, precious stones, and so on. Art, also an interesting direction. I did not understand that it was interesting until I gave a picture to a friend. The picture was worth $250. After 4 years, this picture could be sold for about $10,000. Later my students studied. One of them said that they had one artist in Yakutia who painted landscapes very nicely. Well, just a sight for sore eyes. There was a feeling that every blade of grass, every leaf was like alive. This guy then bought a painting from him for $150. It was just awesome. And when people who promoted artists came, they noticed him and offered to cooperate. Now one of his paintings is worth at least $10,000. The student says to me, can you imagine how much my painting is worth today? And when you build a house or it is set up, then in any case you will hang some pictures. I bought 3 paintings in Thailand. For 4 paintings I paid about $950, one more as a gift. And when I did a frame for them here, I asked, how much will it cost to paint the same picture? I was told, well, we have good artists. They'll draw such a picture for at least $3,000. Do you understand? Yes? This doesn't mean that you need to actively engage in this. But this is one of the directions. When you build a house, you will still equip it anyway. Anyway, some paintings will hang. Why not make such an investment? Further, culture. Also an interesting direction. I will give a simple example from my experience. Do you know such a group, Bayan Mix? Do you know or not? Search the internet for Bayan Mix. About them, now something is not heard. We once brought them to an event in Kiev, and they said to me, Andrey, maybe you will agree somewhere, but we will play in the club. We paid for the plane, the hotel, for speaking with us. They arrived a day earlier. We agreed at the club. In general, I returned all the money and earned another $1,000. I only understood why people who sell all kinds of artists are engaged in this direction. My sister tried to sell in this way. She worked for one person. I asked her, what goes in there? She says, we come up with a show, find an investor, take money from him and then return 50% of the profits. I say, what is the profit? She says, well, for example, they invested $100,000, received $500,000. Awesome. There is one of the directions. Jamila recently offered us to create a film about Unitsky. First, it is still too early and we have no right. And secondly, if we once create a film, then we turn to a super famous director. I'm already looking for an actor who will play me. The one who will play Unitsky and other leaders. If you bring significant benefits, you can also look for someone who can play you. We will make a movie, pay the money, but we still make money on it. By the way, some box office films give 1000% of annual income, because 10 million were invested in its annual filming and 100 million were collected in the cashier. It is a normal form of investment. Further, the science. This is also one of the promising areas. Contribution to science is also one of the main tasks of the foundation. Why do we want to develop representation on a large scale everywhere? And one of my main personal desires is that with every representation we make such. Remember who lived in the Soviet Union, we had young technicians. So I went to the young technician. I visited many different trainings: ship model aircraft, photographing. I have been to many courses. All courses that existed were married by me. It was all free. So I have a strong desire to create such young technicians, because now this is the era. It was a golden time, the time of Unitsky, when he was small, then young. Then children with a potential could go through these young technicians courses, go further, looking for potential and promoting it. We also want us to have the opportunity to support children, make it free, and have more such people as Unitsky. Because the most brilliant world works that are created now are created by people of the Unitsky's age. These are the ones who received this hardening of the former Soviet know-how. Maybe someone remembers how it was sending out on the network that some Japanese engineer from Motorola, it seems, or Panasonic made himself harakiri. He wrote that Soviet engineers are the best engineers. And it turns out all the developments that exist in the world today, except Apple probably, all this was done by Soviet engineers. This school was strong. And if we want to continue to advance in science, then we need to invest in science. And one of the directions that I set myself for the goal is that in 3-5 years, with each representation there should be a young technician. So that children go to such circles for free, and we saw what potential they have. To pull the development of scientific potential, because the scientific potential is not enough. Even in the computer theme, there is no Steve Jobs and no one has come up with anything new. Well, a new battery was invented, new soft delivered. But there is no Steve Jobs, and this was the kind of innovator of the planet who created all this. Because Bill Gates stole all his workings. You know that Bill Gates did not create anything, but only stole from Steve Jobs. Watch the film Pirates of Silicon Valley. It describes it all well. Why do they say that Bill Gates is a thief who stole everything from Steve and started all this earlier because he just stole it? Further, investment funds, there is the direction of investment funds. This is when you can invest in an investment fund. I invested money and do not think about anything, as Tonya told about insurance funds today. HRIPS. What are HRIPS? Today the word HRIP is so popular. I don't understand HRIP today, but in general, if you take the English HRIP translation, these are high-risk investment programs. HRIP, on the one hand, is a good thing. Good HRIP is nowhere to be found. Unfortunately, 97% are rogues and pyramids. Unfortunately, these are not normal HRIPs. Why? Because these are high-risk investment programs. When the investment program is located, money is invested and people earn big money on it. Further, trust management is asset management companies and joint investment institutions. Recently, a cryptocurrency market has emerged. And we also enter it, and you see that we accept bitcoins today. Now we are preparing to receive the ethers. Moreover, opening the veil of secrecy, today a person will come to study because we are entering his business. He is our partner and he is the creator of CryptoMats. And in the nearest future, we set ourselves a goal for our CryptoMats to be around the world. Moreover, it will be with us for those people who want to do this. This is very interesting as an entrepreneurial direction. So you can imagine, 30 million ITMs in the world and only 350 cryptomatics. For today, for now. The market is very large, the market is voluminous. When we met this man, then I also learned that he needed investments that were just ridiculous. We naturally agreed. I could close this money with Armand and Max a SIP, but we took it specifically for the fund, because we saw that there will be a lot of growth in this direction, and a very large growth potential of the whole company. And the last direction is charity. First, you need to invest in charity money as much as you can and no more. Charity should not be just for show, or donate money to a charity foundation. It is necessary to do charity directly. I always say, if you don't have a lot of money, but you see that the neighbors have 2-3 children and they live poorly, well, a little. Buy toys. I love to do charity for children. Snezhana goes to my orphanage, constantly buys something, but lately they even forbid it there. Allegedly, you give the money to a charity fund and we ourselves will distribute as much as we give. Yes, we do not want so. We want to make direct transfers to this orphanage. I say, good, I have a team, let's repair it there. I was not allowed. Because they allocated budget money, they apparently spent it, did not repair it themselves, and we are not allowed to do it. And she buys different things and goes there regularly. Why am I bringing this all up? Charity should be just that when you give, then create good. Not a handout on the street to give to these beggars, but to create the good. You can help a relative of the poor. Even if he does not want to go into your business, he does not understand what it is. But he has children. Buy a toy for children, candy for some holiday there, and you will see how happy they will be. But this energy of money comes. The right charity gives money. I'll tell the story. Sergey studied with me from Perm. We are real estate partners now. We have real estate, which we bought together with him and immediately handed over to networkers. There is such as Magnet, Пятерочка, which enter and we receive from 1.5% to 3% of the monthly income. And we share it. He studied with me at the academy. He went bankrupt. It was the 12th year. And when we started charity, he said, Andryuha, I do not understand how this can be. Is it that I have to make an investment fund and make money from it? I replied, no, these are such energy dividends. When at the level of energy you give to the orphanage or who you need, that is the good you create. And at the level of energy, even more money comes. He told such a case, very indicative case. He has a lot of debtors. He had a construction company. It went bankrupt due to the fact that he built everything for his money, took a loan from the bank, and his clients had to pay him. And then the crisis of 2008 and everything flew to hell. He says, I sold all my Mercedes cars, Jeeps, pulled up my tummy, took a taxi, moved from house to apartment, sold houses to solve many problems. And a lot of money people needed. And here we are sitting in the office thinking what to do. They call us from an orphanage and ask, we are cold now, can you help us with anything? Heaters, blankets. I drove and bought just 1,000 for $10. He brought everything himself. The children squeaked with joy. Coldly, imagine, no heating. After 3 days, the debtors call and say that they have money and they want to return the debt. Imagine, this is how charity works. Therefore, charity always needs to be able to give it right, in the right direction, so that more will come. These are the 20 investment market segments that exist and you can learn in every direction. I'm not saying that you should do everything, but these directions are like a roadmap. What it is not only a bank, not only a real estate market, not just some stocks. Here is a limitless market today, and you can invest anywhere.